Steel Nation!
We're on the line with frontman Riley Stronger of Melbourne Thrash's Desecrator. How are you, mate?
I'm good, man. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Pretty exciting times coming up for you guys. You got a few big shows and a new album coming out. You must be pretty flat out at the moment.
We're firing on all cylinders and starting to feel like the exhaust gaskets are leaking water into the manifolds, and eventually we're going to throw a piston. If that makes any sense. No, it's a great time where we've got some killer things happening towards the end of this year, and so after, I think it's 7 odd years of Desecrator existing, touring and releasing, to finally cut a real studio album. It's something that we've delayed for a long time, and we've found a lot of different ways to go around the topic, but we've finally done it, and we're really, really excited to finish it off and get it out there.
You've released a few studio updates, and judging by the quality of the riffs, but not the arse cheeks, it seems the album seems to be coming along quite nicely.
It's getting there, man. It's one of those houses that you build, and you write all your songs. Like, we're a very live band, we're a very organic sounding band, so everything we do is kind of built from the ground up in a rehearsal room, with that classic guitar and drum type of basis, and then we put everything else on top. So there's not a lot of like home studio gear used or demoing used along the way. So once we get into the studio with all our ideas and we kind of cull them down and they naturally evolve to where they should be, it's the first time that we've heard it be like that as well. So it's a really exciting period for us to kind of hear the riffs and hear if they're sounding like what we were envisaging or whether they've taken on a new light. It's a really fresh and exciting vibe. Yeah, it's cool.
Do you feel as though it's going to be stronger than your past albums, given that you've had this chance?
Yeah, I think that definitely. I mean, we've compared to our past releases too, I think Desecrator has by far got the strongest lineup that it's ever had. I'm pretty blessed to have some great musicians that have joined the band over the years. I think that instrumentally and performance-wise, the players I've got around me at the moment and in the band are just of a caliber that we've never seen before. The band hasn't had on its past releases, but I think it also has that, the amount of touring we've done and the amount of bands we've played with in different countries and all those things that give you a bit more kind of perspective and retrospect. It's kind of matured the material a lot, and it's really kind of opened it up, and I feel like we've gone beyond any kind of cattle gates of the genre that we're in. So yeah, it's really exciting, man. We're really, really, really keen to get it kind of polished off. I think actually tonight, in about 3 or 4 hours, I should hear the first reference mixes of it. So I'll enjoy a couple of riffs before bed.
So you guys wear your thrash influences on your sleeve, but you've still managed to develop your own sort of sound, and you're bringing new fans into the genre. How do you go about sort of keeping like an older genre fresh?
I think for me it was really like I saw a hole that no one in Australia was really playing clean vocal thrash metal the way I like to listen to it, like the good old 80s, like Bay Area crossed with the German type of stuff. There was kind of, back when Desecrator was happening, there wasn't any bands I was aware of who were doing it. There were people who were touching on it and bands who were doing some really cool stuff, but there was no one doing it in that kind of traditional way. So I guess we started out just writing songs in a style that we loved, and kind of in that way that a lot of bands, they start by mimicking what they love and mimicking what they are inspired by, and then as time progressed and different musicians put their stamp on it, and you kind of get a direction of where you musically kind of want to mature from, the difference between being 25 and being 30 kind of hits, and everything that has an outside influence on who you are as a person and the way you write music kind of just creeps into the the songs, and if you can be true to yourself and kind of true artistically to who you are, I think that just naturally becomes something that people can connect with, but it becomes something more than the bass point, the mimicry point that you started from.
So over the last couple of years, in particular, there's been a lot of thrash sort of bands coming out, like the scene's sort of really starting to pick up. Do you guys think you've played a hand in that?
I wouldn't be that presumptuous. I think that we've enjoyed the timing of it. Being blessed in being a Melbourne band, we have a great scene down here, and there's a lot of thrash bands from Melbourne that are making an impact around Australia and beyond. I think that whether a kind of Desecrator's momentum encouraged other people in Melbourne to kind of be aware of the scene and kind of push forwards with it, or whether it was just purely timing that other people saw the same thing I did, I'm not sure. But I think regardless, the state of Australian thrash metal and thrash influenced metal is at the best place it's been since Hobbs and Renegade and Nothing Sacred originally did it in the late 80s.
Red Steel Nation! Crushing ring, pulling penis jogging. Liquids pulling bombs, coming crazy, hitting Red Steel Nation! Straight to the liver, don't back down. Drink and deliver.
getting back to the album, do you have a release date and a title in mind? Obviously, you're not going to reveal it here, but do you have one? Like, can we expect it by the end of the year?
Yeah, definitely. We're working really hard. We don't have a firm release date, but we do have a bunch of tour dates at the end of the year. It'd be quite nice to take this album on the road around Australia and overseas. So not only have we not dropped a release date, we haven't dropped all the tour dates we have before the end of this year, and we also are yet to put out the title and artwork and everything. But it's so close, it's almost painful to not talk about it. There's so much concept and so much work happening behind the scenes that it's hard to just shut up about it, because I just want to talk about it because it's taking up all my bloody time. So yeah, it's soon. I think I'm hoping that we should have something in our palms, ready to show the rest of the world by late August, early September type of thing. But that's, who knows between now and then.
Well, we look forward to it no matter when it comes. You have announced a couple of shows. You've got one coming up with Terror Squad from Japan. Have you heard much from these guys?
I didn't know they existed at all, which is the case a lot of the time with bands that you, like when promoters contact you for shows. So I hadn't heard of them at all, but I'm glad I have now, because I thought they were sick. Like, I really kind of dig the extremities of what Japanese bands in particular take Western styles of music to, and I think they're a perfect example of how they've put their own flavour on something and just kind of pushed it to an extreme. So it's going to be a cool show, that one. I think it's kind of, for us, that's returning stylistically to more what we were playing when Desecrator started, because there wasn't a healthy thrash scene of lots of bands all being able to play together and crowds who just go out for that. We were more on a limb playing with death metal bands and grind bands and, just bands that we could get a leg up with, and anyone who'd kind of take us on. So that, for us to play with much heavier bands and to play with death metal bands again, it's a really exciting thing, because it takes us back to where Desecrator kind of cut our teeth, playing in front of those guys and being the only audible vocal band on the bill. It's, we thrive on that stuff.
Now, crowd-wise, do you have any idea what to expect? As you said, not many people have heard of them yet, but they're sort of getting their name out there through guys like you. So,
look, it's one of those shows that I think they're in the position that we've been in many times, like the same position that we're in touring Mexico, touring Brazil, touring Asia, touring Russia, where you go to these new markets where you haven't been before. You hope that the underground's kind of spread the word. You hope that YouTube and the internet's kind of done its thing and people have had a look at you. You hope the promoter's done their job and put enough flyers up. But at the end of the day, you just go expecting that there'll at least be a cool club, some cool bands and some cool people. So I don't know what kind of heads Terror Squad are going to pull on their own, like what kind of awareness that Australia has. But I think the fact that the lineups they're playing with, from what I've seen for all their dates, are good, healthy, strong bands. So that's at least the bands are talking about it. The people who are into those bands are checking them out. There's those mates will tell their mates. The old school way. Eventually rumour will spread and people will turn up, because people just like a good show.
Absolutely. Now, the show us here in Adelaide are all looking forward to, that you're going to be a part of, is The New Dead. You're going to be playing alongside man, it's just a killer lineup, isn't it? Yeah, I reckon it's one of the best years Jason's put together. It's always a good show. I mean, I've driven up to The New Dead when I haven't even been on it, just because I think it's one of the best festivals that, showcases good Australian bands, and mainly independent Australian bands too. So I think it's a great show for Adelaide, and it's a great show for Australian metal to get to Adelaide and have a good crowd, because Adelaide, has been a hard crowd for certain bands over time, and stylistically it can be quite hard to pull crowds in Adelaide. So to bring everyone together in a showcase style where people will come out and watch all the bands and be a good healthy crowd all day, it's a great chance for bands to grab a bit of crowd and then follow it up, Absolutely. Is there any chance of us hearing any of your new material during your set?
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, we didn't write them not to play them. Yeah, I reckon we were chucking a few in on the recent tour of Brazil and Mexico. kind of throwing them in over there, but no one really knew the difference between the new songs and the old songs. Everything was new to them to a certain degree. So it was a bit, the impact was a little bit lost. Like, being able to say, this is a new one, and everyone's like, oh, another new one, great. But in Australia, at least, if I say this is a new one, people are going to know it's a new one. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the reaction. We've only really done one show, I think, in Australia where we played new material. So, yeah, it's a cool time. It's a cool time. It's kind of an exciting time because it takes you back to kind of that slight nervousness and anxiousness of playing your songs to people for the first time.
I'm sure everyone's going to love it, man. Well,
Say better.
Thanks heaps for speaking with me, mate, and for being Band of the Month. Yeah, we can't wait to see you here in September and hear about this new album.
Absolutely stoked to do it. Thank you for the interview. Thank you to Nay and Jamie and Painkiller Bookings and yourself, Cameron. Thank you for the support, and we'll see you in Adelaide.